presentation of the day. Now, in collaboration with Netflix, I am starting a documentary on the biggest BTC hack recovery ever. Now, unless you've been living under the rock, you should know that there was a big story coming out today about the recovery of about $4 billion worth of hacked Bitcoin. It's such a bizarre story. I think it needs its own documentary. This is going to be one of those stories where you can't believe what is happening, where you can't believe how it can happen, and where there's still a lot of mystery surrounding the whole event, even though it has ended. So let's go over what happened. D-Wave, thanks for the $2 donation. Thoughts on Polygon? I will talk about Polygon. I like Polygon, though my first experience with it wasn't that great.
Thoughts on Polygon?
Yeah, like I say, I will do over it. Okay, let's talk about this story. So the biggest hack in BTC. Now, let's start the story with 2016. Now, 2016, Bitfinex. This is an exchange that's known for operating in a kind of a sketchy manner. They are associated with Tether coin. And for those of you who know about Tether, people are accusing them of not having fully backed, that they are manipulating the crypto market like crazy. If you see my video yesterday about the whole Quadriga exchange, I think Bitfinex and Tether are doing similar things. Now, when will they collapse? Well, I'm not accusing them of anything. This is just my opinion. I think they are operating kind of in a sketchy way as well. So as long as they're not totally backed, that's a problem to me. So I wouldn't invest my money in Bitfinex exchange. I'd rather go with something reputable like Coinbase, even though there's a lot of shit talk about Coinbase, but it's still better than Bitfinex. Anyway, in 2016, Bitfinex got hacked for 120,000 Bitcoins. Now, if you do the math, at that point in time, Bitcoin was quite low. I think it was trading under $10,000 at that point, and the total was worth $720 million at that time. Sorry, $72 million. So $72 million was siphoned away from Bitfinex due to a hack. That's still a lot of Bitcoins if you compare it to that volume at that time. A lot of Bitcoin compared to how much Bitfinex holds in its exchange at that time. So still, it was a big hack. This caused a giant panic in the market. By the way, this whole report was thanks to this guy here. He did a really nice summary of this Twitter thing. I will link it. It's called Jack Newell. He did a nice summary of this whole thing. So I'm just trying to reiterate the whole thing. I'll link to his Twitter thread. So this whole hack caused the price of Bitcoin to drop tremendously, significantly, a ton of drop. So people were bearish because what are they gonna think? When you hack this many Bitcoin, the natural thing to do is to sell them. And we sell them, do various exchanges, OTCs, whatever, and this will affect the price. So people were pricing that in and they started selling their Bitcoin in anticipation for the major sell-off that's coming for this 120,000 Bitcoins. Now, what did Bitfinex do to help the customers? Because a lot of this Bitcoins was customers' funds. Now, there's another reminder. If it's not your key, if it's not your wallet, then it's not your coin. If the exchange holds your wallet, they're holding it on your behalf, and you have to trust in the exchange's security to handle your crypto. And in this case, it was exactly reason why we shouldn't do this, because your coin gets hacked. And now your coins are lost. Your coins are lost. Now, what did Bitfinex do? Well, Bitfinex say, oh, it's okay. We're just going to cut 30% of your coin. I think that's how much. They're just going to slash your fund in your accounts. So if you have an account with Bitfinex, they slashed your accounts due to this hack by about 30% or something. But then instead of just taking your money, because they needed to do that to stay solvent, because if they don't do that, the whole exchange could implode and they could go out of business, where you will lose 100% of your deposit. Now instead of doing the 100%, they do, okay, we'll take 30% of your money, but we're going to give you our shitcoin instead, called Leo coin. Leo token is a native token. Think of it like Binance token, similar, but it's for Bitfinex, their native platform token. They're like, all right, we'll give you some of our shit tokens instead. So, this is the problem with exchanges. They can just do things like that where you have no control over. A lot of people were like, okay, at least we got something instead of getting our money taken away for no reason. So that's what happened. And that's what they did to stay sovereign throughout that time. As you can tell, a hack is devastating for any exchange. Now, fast forward. Oh, also, before this whole thing, Bitfinex put out a bounty of $400 million if you can find the hacker and lead them to recover the $1 billion missing in their Bitcoin. So they put out a bounty, and nobody, to this day, nobody has come up. Now, if I were somebody who's involved in this, $400 million in legit money, it's a lot of money. I might try to snitch. I'm not saying I'm a snitcher, but you never know with $400 million in front of you. Now, fast forward to earlier this month. Well, the month before, January 31st. Whale Alert, which is a tracker on Twitter, noticed that a lot of the money that was stolen from 2016 hack began to move. This is a very, very interesting scenario. 77 million here, 385 million there, another 385 million, another 385 million. Now, all of this was coming from the hacked wallet. Remember, the hacker siphoned the fund from the exchange and put it in a wallet or several wallets. And we were able to blacklist the wallet to say that's the wallet of the hacker. Whale Alert tracked that, and they noticed the funds were moving out of it. And as we will know from later, this is the Fed, the government, the United States government doing that. So now this is the story. So the funds were basically recovered, and they did some in forensics. They were able to dig through the whole thing about how this 120,000 Bitcoin was able to move throughout the time. How it was able to move through different wallets, different services like Alphabay. If I recall, I think Alphabay got seized by the authorities, so the government can't see whatever you're doing in there. So through various means, so they were using Alphabay, they were converting it to Monero, which is hard to track, and then I think they were using Tornado Cash as well. So these people certainly know what they're doing if they want to try to launder this Bitcoin through so many different wallets and different type of coins. So they were able to track that down. Now this tells you the Fed, when given the resources, can and do track down how your coin, like what your coin is going. If they really want to track down people like Sifu, people like, he was doing stuff in Tornado Cash. Pretty much anyone using Tornado Cash. Now I'm not saying Tornado Cash it's only for laundry purposes. They are legit uses. Like if you want to stay anon, if your wallet got doxed, you want to stay anon, that's what you use. Tornado Cash to launder, well, not launder, to stay anonymous. And that's what they were able to track. That's what the Fed was able to track. Now, they found these two people through this whole tracking process. They were using Alphabay Market, and they were able to track down two people. Because these are really dumb people. They were not careful, and they tried to launder this. How do you launder $4 billion, by the way? How? I wouldn't even know. I don't have any experience. I don't even know how to launder $10,000. Oops, not from experience. But I'm saying, how do you launder for $4 billion? Well, these three people, you'll find out who they are. They are really dumb, basically. They left tracks all over the place. And the Fed were able to make the connection from their wallet all the way to their real life identity. I've been saying from the start, it's really hard, really hard to stay anonymous, even with crypto, even with this blockchain wallet and stuff, because eventually you need to launder the money back to cash, to US dollar, or to another form of traditional currency. And usually they go to banks and other stuff. Unless you meet up in person, you give them the cash, which is kind of dangerous. And we're going back to like the mafia days, right? So these are the dumb launderers. So who are they? let's go over. The first person is this person. Her name's Heather Morgan, also known as Razzle Khan. She's the female person in this list here. Apparently she's a rapper. But before that, she actually wrote article for Forbes magazine or Inc magazine, two of the like biggest business magazines in the industry. She actually wrote articles about how to pick CEOs, how to be successful, articles about leadership and startups and stuff. She actually wrote articles for these publications. And she lives in New York. She's a local person, and she does rapping. Now, let's get a clip of her rapping. Now, I want to warn you, if you have kids around, I would move them around. And if you are easily getting traumatized, if you could easily get if you could easily get offended, please do not watch this video. This video, it's only for those who can keep up with the cringe level. So let's play some of her rap. This is the person who tried to launder $4 billion of Bitcoin. Look at her Versace. The tattoos. Alright, I couldn't take it. Well, that's her. That's her rapping. I mean, it's great. She likes rapping. Nothing wrong with that. I just don't think that's her calling. Anyway, that's one of the launders. Now, the second launder is this person, Ilya Littenstein, also known as Dutch. So, this is the person, the guy in this picture. They're actually married in 2019. And there was a video of her Instagram where she had this wild wedding. Anyway, this guy is actually an entrepreneur. He actually pitched a company to Y Combinator, which is like a startup incubator, and they actually got funding. So he is the Russian badass in this whole thing. And together, they formed a couple of shell companies to do some of the bidding. And they tried to launder the money through means like that. And they got caught. Basically, they got caught. And this is how they were doing it. Record shows that portion of the $500 gift card were then redeemed through 3 transactions for personal items via Walmart iPhone application. Each of the 3 redemptions were conducted online under Morgan's name, using one of Morgan's email address and providing Morgan and Littenstein's home address for delivery. This is just not careful. This is just not being careful. Yes, they should have watched Ozark. So, that's not how you launder money. You don't use your real name, real address for all of that. The Fed can easily track you down. Man. So these people, they weren't very smart, basically. Now, this is pretty much, they got arrested yesterday and they are going to go to court. It's crazy. Now, and that's pretty much the drama so far. Now, what is going to happen? What do we think now? Like, we know that there's going to be 120,000 Bitcoin in the Fed's possession. The Fed holds this much token. As you can see, they can move it around. So, oh, by the way they were able to get the tokens from this wallet was that they were able to, after they found out who they were, they got a warrant to track the cloud storage account of the guy or the girl, I don't know, one of them. In those cloud accounts, like Apple Cloud, whatever, iCloud, they found the private key to several wallets worth together over $1 billion, like $4 billion. They found the private keys in a file on this guy's cloud server in a file somewhere. Private keys to all of these wallets, or the different separate wallets that we're trying to launder through. So in together, they were able to get all of that money, all of it. So now we have 120,000 Bitcoin circulating from the Fed. Now what would the Fed do? What Bitfinex actually publicly said, if the Fed decided to return the money, they would do their best to buy up their Leo token to pay that money back to the investors. Now remember, Leo token is the token that was given back to the investors of Bitfinex for taking the money away from when Bitfinex took their money away. So they're giving the Leo tokens as a token of something that they can look forward to. If you look at the price, it's been pretty stable. So now Bitfinex is like, if you return the cash to us, we will not sell the Bitcoin. Instead, we will just use the money to buy up Leo token, so the price of this thing could go up, so it could go back to whatever we owe you, the 30% that we shaved off. Now, given this news, Leo token spiked 43% yesterday. In one day, it spiked 43%. So real good for people who are holding on to Leo token this whole time since the Bitfinex drama hack. So we'll see where this goes. If they do get that money from the Fed, the thing is, Bitfinex is not in the United States. They don't operate in the United States, and they sort of got bad rep in the United States. So I'm not sure if the United States will return the money to Bitfinex. Hopefully, maybe the United States government will just keep it. Who knows? Or sell it OTC. So the question of who's going to own the BTC is a great question. We don't know what's going to happen. It's only speculation right now. Now, is the price of Bitcoin priced in? Well, this news did not move Bitcoin much. Bitcoin actually dropped like 2% yesterday after the news, but it has since recovered. So I don't think this is going to affect the market that much. But still, $4 billion worth of Bitcoin is going to be really, really hard to liquidate. It's going to be really hard to convert it to cash. I'm not sure what's the best way to do it. People could do it via over-the-counter exchange, or they can just sell it directly to exchanges. So yeah, and the question of when reimbursement, again, like I mentioned, they're either going to buy the Leo token up to help with the reimbursement, or they're going to give the money back to the customer somehow. So that is the story so far. It's a bizarre story. There's a lot of questions remain as for how did these two were able to get the keys to the hacked wallet. Now the Fed made it very clear that they don't think these two are the people who originally hacked the Bitfinex exchange. They don't. So as far as how they get the money, the key to the wallet, it's anyone's guess, and hopefully they were able to interrogate these two and figure out the answer. And that is the wrap for this story. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap.